The news never stops. The NFL news cycle never sleeps, nor does Howie Roseman. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr. We have some breaking news to get to, but of course, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I greatly appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. And you know what I need you to do. For breaking Eagles news content and for videos every single day year-round covering the Birds, Super Bowl 59 champs, I need you to go on down and hit that subscribe button. The breaking news on this Tuesday, March 4th of 2025, right before free agency is set to begin on Monday for all 32 teams across the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles are signing running back Saquon Barkley to a massive and record-breaking contract extension. This coming off the heels of what was the best single season that we have ever seen a running back have in the history of the NFL. Saquon running for more than 2,000 rushing yards, NFL Offensive Player of the Year, should have won NFL MVP, and he broke the record for the most rushing yards in a single season in NFL history, regular season and playoffs combined, by overtaking Terrell Davis's record, a great player for the Denver Broncos, during Super Bowl 59 as Philadelphia throttled the Kansas City Chiefs. Here are the details from ESPN's Adam Schefter, and let's just go through the numbers here because Howie Roseman is rewarding his offensive MVP and one of the finest players that has ever worn an Eagles uniform. The Eagles are rewarding Saquon with a 2-year, $41.2 million contract extension, which makes Saquon the highest paid running back in NFL history. The deal makes Barkley the NFL's first $20 million plus per year running back at average annual value. And Barkley also has the ability to earn an additional $15 million in incentives and escalators, and the deal includes $36 million fully guaranteed at signing. We talked about this potentially happening, that after the season that Saquon had, the importance that he played within this Eagles offense, what he did and how he changed the complexion of this Eagles team, that this was possible. That Saquon and his agent might have conversations with Howie Roseman, because when Howie signed Saquon around this time last year in free agency to that contract, which was pretty much 2 years, $26 million in fully guaranteed money, $13 million per year, that was a bargain. And it was a steal for the year that Saquon was able to have. And I said at the moment that when Saquon signed with Philadelphia, if he was able to stay healthy, he'd be in the MVP running. He'd be in the running to win NFL Offensive Player of the Year. That he would have, potentially, if he stayed healthy, the best year of his career. Because he had never played with a quarterback as talented and as good as Jalen Hurts. He had never played behind an offensive line like Philadelphia's. He had never played on an offense with complementary skill position players around him. All of that ended up being true, and it obviously helped as well that the Eagles were loaded on defense, and they had the #1 overall defense in the NFL, thanks to a magical coaching job by Vic Fangio. And I'm a little bit surprised that Howie Roseman is doing this in general, and he's doing it so quickly, but Saquon Barkley earned this. Of course, there is some risk because he's in his late 20s. There's some tread on the tires. He was utilized a lot, and sometimes running backs can age overnight, but you also have a feeling that Saquon Barkley's just a little bit different, that his athleticism can allow him to extend his prime years with the way that he's built physically, but also the explosion that he has and the care that he puts into his body and how unique he is as an athletic specimen. Now, let's run through some of the specifics here, because Saquon Barkley's $36 million in fully guaranteed money also establishes a new high watermark for running backs. As far as guaranteed money, it's record-breaking in that regard, and it's not even close with the second-best running back, because Christian McCaffrey is now #2 on that list at $24 million. Saquon also passes Christian McCaffrey in APY. That's average per year with this new contract, and this is really good for the running back market. A few years ago, even I was talking about how the running back position wasn't valued as much because the league was moving in a more pass-happy direction, and running backs were becoming not extinct, but expendable. You could find some really good running backs for cheap in free agency or day 2, day 3 in the NFL draft. But in 2023, you saw the value of Christian McCaffrey. In 2024, you saw the value and the impact of Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry and how they were able to really change the outlook for their respective offenses and how they were defended. And I know that Jalen Hurts won Super Bowl MVP, and I know that Hurts was dropping dimes and he found success in carving up Steve Spagnuolo's defense. He doesn't have that performance, in my opinion, if Saquon Barkley's not on that team. Because even though Saquon struggled a little bit, what did he have? 25 carries for 50-plus yards? He opened up the pass game because of the mere threat that he posed the defense. Because all the Chiefs did, time and time again, was load the box and put so many defenders inside that tackle box because they wanted to go all out in stopping the run. And what happened? Open up the play-action game for Jalen Hurts to find success through the air. And then on the boundaries, the Eagles were able to spread things out, and the field vision was made easier for Jalen Hurts. And what a unique year it was for Saquon, too, with all of the explosive runs that he was able to have. In the playoffs, he really carried this offense at moments when they were really struggling. He ran for more than 100 yards against Green Bay. He had the iconic 70-plus yard touchdown run against the Rams in the snow. Saquon in the snow. And then first play from scrimmage against the Washington Commanders, he takes it to the curb from about 60 yards out. And it seemed as though every time the Eagles were looking for an explosive play, anytime they needed something to go in their direction on the offensive side of the ball, Saquon was able to come through. And I'm just racking my brain right now at all of the marquee, special, game-changing plays that he was able to put on tape this year. He started off his Eagles career with a bang in week 1 in Brazil against the Packers. He had one of the best debuts we've ever seen. A hat trick, 3 touchdowns against Green Bay. The wheel route, and then a couple of rushing touchdowns. He had the long rush against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The week before that, him and Dallas Goedert put the team on his back, and he had that long touchdown run, which helped the Eagles win the game. He had the backwards hurdle against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He had the 2 touchdowns in 20 seconds against the Commanders at home in prime time. Against the Rams in prime time, he had 2 70-plus rushing touchdowns. Just such a unique special season, one season that we'll never forget, and one of the best single seasons that we'll see from an offensive player in the history of the league. And going back to the running back market, running backs now coming up in high school, running backs now coming up through college are thanking players like Saquon Barkley for making other teams value running backs again and emphasizing the run because of how the Eagles were able to make it to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl and the identity that they had. The top 5 rushing offenses in the NFL all made the playoffs in 2024. And so with Saquon now getting paid, you look at the highest paid running backs per year in the NFL. Saquon Barkley's at 20.6, Christian McCaffrey at 19, Jonathan Taylor 14, Alvin Kamara 12 and a quarter, Josh Jacobs at 12. Saquon is well ahead of those players. So bragging rights for him, but he's helping other running backs get paid now and in the future. And in free agency, I expect there to be a little bit of a trickle-down effect because of what Saquon was able to do this season, Derrick Henry as well, and Christian McCaffrey last year. Saquon also, in the span of a year, left the New York Giants. Thank you, Joe Shane in New York. I made sure to tell him that when we were in Indianapolis for the NFL Combine. He set the Eagles' single-season rushing yards record, overtaking LaShawn McCoy's previous record, set the NFL record for scrimmage yards in a season, won his first Super Bowl, and became the highest-paid running back in the NFL. All within 12 months. It's pretty damn good. And the numbers in totality with what Saquon was able to do this season, Howie Roseman could not have made a better decision in free agency by just increasing the money a little bit as compared to New York and being the team to pay Saquon Barkley when other teams were a little bit scared to do so. 345 carries, led the NFL. 2,005 rushing yards, led the NFL. 13 touchdowns on the ground. He averaged 5.8 yards per carry, 125.3 rushing yards per game. And then through the air, 33 catches, 278 yards, and 2 more touchdowns. That was in the regular season. And in the playoffs, 4 games, he had 91 carries, 499 yards, 5 touchdowns. A long of 78, that was against the Rams. He averaged 5.5 yards per tote, nearly 125 rushing yards per game, and he added 13 catches for 75 yards. It's just an incredible season. Now, of course, with those 91 carries in 4 playoff games, combined with the 345 carries that he had in the regular season, that's a lot of touches for a running back who is 28 years old right now and will be 29 years old, just turned 28 February 9th, the date of the Super Bowl. So he's entering his age 28 season. We know that running backs can age overnight, and so there is a little bit of a concern with the Eagles giving him all this money, all of that guaranteed money, coming off the season in which he had, but that season that he had and the numbers that he was able to produce required him having to touch the football a lot. Now, my guess is that the Barkley extension is very similar to the one that Christian McCaffrey signed, where they tack on massive money years at the end, and then they guarantee the existing money. I would be surprised if it's anything else. And so these are financial gymnastics that Howie can work out here by signing Saquon to this deal. But again, he kind of earned it, right? And you had a feeling that after the season that he had and how important he was to this Eagles team, that he was going to be due, at the very least, for a pay raise, some more guaranteed money, because the base salary, the cap hit, they are all very low. And the original deal that he signed, just $26 million in guaranteed money. That $26 million in guaranteed money throughout the entire duration of the original contract was worth it just with what Saquon was able to do this season, because it resulted in the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. But as you project forward, some concerns there with the age and the usage concerns and some of the injury concerns that he had while with the New York Giants, but also keep in mind that the NFL salary cap is going to continue to go up. One more note, too. By releasing Darius Slay and James Bradbury, the Eagles did open up about $6.5 million in cap space. That can't be used in free agency. It will open up to the Eagles in a few months to absorb a contract extension like this or another contract extension and other moves that the Eagles could make. Just wanted to pass along that note. Don't forget to hit that sub button. This news just happened minutes ago. Already pumping out a video. Instant reaction. Saquon Barkley going to be with the Eagles for the foreseeable future, and he certainly earned that bag.